This is the afternoon before I'm heading out, and the weather is looking very poor. And over the next couple nights, the temperatures are expected to get down near freezing. It's going to be a cold one.
There it is, Nerstrand, the start of the Minnesota Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail. It is like 35 degrees out here, and it was raining on my way here, and we're getting more rain as we head out that way, so this is not going to be the most fun start to the trail.
One more thing I want to add. When you combine the wind and the super cold temp with that rain, it made this ride extremely miserable over to Red Wing, which made me want to stop to warm up a bit. So I went to a Caribou coffee shop, and here's a clip from that.
Okay, I'm going to have to talk very quickly and constantly because there is copyrighted music in the background, but it took me 2 hours and I'm finally in Red Wing, Minnesota at a Caribou Coffee. I would have filmed something between Nerstrand and here, but it was, again, below 40 degrees with a strong north wind and nearly freezing rain the entire time, so small coffee and just gonna warm up for a bit because my hands were so numb I couldn't even take my earplugs out. I could barely even get the key out of the bike. That's how much feeling was gone from my hands, so it should be getting better from here though. So I'm about 3/4 of the way there. Let's see, what time is it? It's 10:40. And I'm at the point where I need to fuel up again. Now I did fuel up in Red Wing, and I used 1.211 gallons. I got 57 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. I'm also having a little bit of trouble finding 200th Avenue. So far, I've only made one mistake on the directions, and the Google Maps has actually been wrong twice now, where it actually gave the wrong road. So I thought I had them, well, let me rephrase. When you're using Google to check Google, if Google is wrong, everything's going to be wrong because you're referencing something on itself. So the actual roads that Wisconsin have are named differently than what Google has, as well as Wisconsin is really bad about labeling its roads. Like some of these roads, there are no road signs. And that's kind of annoying when you're trying to figure out where you are and where you're going. So I'm going to fuel up and then I'll figure out where I actually am, and then we'll continue on. Well, I'm all fueled up. I had a quick snack, one of the Cliff Turd bars, one of these things. They're not the cheapest, but man, they're good. Actually, the owner of this property just stopped by, very nice gentleman, and asked if I needed help or if I was just taking a break. Obviously, to me, I'm taking a break, but that's obviously not obvious to other people, to use the word obviously too much. So everything's repacked. I'm down to my normal riding pants and mesh jacket. It's getting a little warmer out. Sun's higher in the sky. So now it's just time to find 200th and then continue on to Danbury. Look at this. Over there, 2 swans, which isn't anything particularly special, but this view is fantastic. It was better up the road a little ways, but this is where I was able to stop. I think the best part of Minnesota, which is the Boundary Waters, is better than the best part of Wisconsin. But Wisconsin, on average, I think is much, much more beautiful than Minnesota on average. So, beautiful. This is a Burnett County forest road that goes from over there to over there. I already went on probably, I don't know, almost a mile of it. And while this part looks like gravel, it's actually mostly sand. It is wet. I mean, you can see there, it's kind of muddy. So it's not like proper deep dry sand, but it acts very similar. And so far, the Tusk D Sport tires are handling it very well. But you have to stand up. So I figured I'd put the GoPro on the helmet, and that way if I fall, we can all laugh together. So wish me luck. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, man. Oh. That was so lucky. In that one spot, I had almost 5 times in a row right there where I lost it, but I was able to save it. Oh, my heart is pounding like crazy. But that's why we do these things.
Now, bear in mind that I have been riding motorcycles for less than 1 year, and this was my first time ever encountering some, proper sand, because that area up in Wisconsin is pretty much all sand. So having never experienced it before, as you can see, I took it pretty slowly, and even so, I still got in a little bit of a sticky situation. As well as that front tire, that front Tusk D Sport tire does tend to wash out quite badly on really loose, large gravel, and also that finer sand. So I'll put that down to 99% failure of technique, but it was a little bit the front tire washing out. But had I more experience with sand, I probably wouldn't have had any trouble with that one road. But hey, it was a good experience, and even that little bit of sand helped me out later in the boundary waters. You'll have to excuse the noise, I have no control over that. Over there, big yellow, over the one-lane bridge, then flows into Little Yellow, which flows into the Yellow River. I believe that eventually flows into the St. Croix, so we've officially made it, our first leg of the Minnesota Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail. This is where I'm going to leave the ride portion, and I'll see you at camp. So from there, I stopped by the Yellow Lake Lodge, which is, just a few hundred feet away from where I was. I parked my bike next to some side-by-sides and had a nice lunch, chilled out from the ride, and after that, I headed over to my family's campsite where I set up my tent and prepared to clean the chain on my bike. I did use a block of wood to prop up the stand, and that actually works out very well and makes cleaning the chain really a breeze. So for cleaning my chain on the trail, I've just got a 1-ounce container, obviously formerly hand sanitizer. This is full of red line transmission oil, that's what I use on my chain. And then I've got another ounce of kerosene. I've got a medium-sized brush, and then just one paper towel I broke into 2 pieces, and that's one is to clean the chain from the kerosene, and the other one is to wipe on the oil. And then 1 block of the appropriate size, too short, too long, just right. It's the wheel in the air. I wish I could take it with me, but I can't. One last tip, and this is more of an opinion than a true piece of advice, so take that into account. On the trail, you don't need to worry about having your chain be spotlessly clean like you would at home. Just have it be good enough to be trail clean. So just get the dirt off, get the sand off, and then get oil on it. That's really all that matters. Do it every 200 to 400 miles if you can. If you get water on it, maybe sooner. So
that's what I'm going to be doing. So I drove 222 miles from the start to the end of my trip today, and I'm going to clean the chain, and then I'm not going to clean it again until day 4 when I'm back here. So I'm probably going to go another 400 miles or so without cleaning it. Unless it really seems like it needs it, I'm not going to do it. But I always do bring the gear with me, so I can if I have to. So before it gets too dark, let's take a look at what I have to sleep with. I've got my trusty CC hat, as well as what you've seen, my Nemo Switchback foam pad. Not the best because it's bulky, but it is somewhat inexpensive, and it's like the most reliable thing you can get besides just the ground itself. Then I've got this not so new sleeping bag. This is just one I've had since forever. And then inside of that I have a second, this is a cheapo Kids Coleman fleece sleeping bag, which sounds lame, but this is going to be valuable because it's supposed to get down to 30 degrees tonight. And because of that, I've got a couple extra hand warmers, only if I need them. Otherwise, my boots are outside, my riding gear is over here, and also my rain gear, and then a few extras on this side. And so, looking at day 2, I've got 2 options. One is to get all the way to the campsite with no fuel stop. This one has like a 40-mile deviation to get fuel, and this is probably the one that this is the one that I'm going to go with because it allows me more options later on that day and also the next day for a little bit of extra exploring and some longer routes without having to come directly back to Danbury on Sunday. So I'm going to continue to study these tonight, and hopefully we'll have a nice day tomorrow. I ended the day with 1,284 miles on the clock, which is a little over 200 miles. And I thought it was a pretty successful day, and I was quite excited for what lie ahead on day 2. So thanks for watching, and day 2 will be out next week.